Good evening, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. I always appreciate you sharing your time with me. Today is December 31st, 2023, the last day of 2023. In some countries, it's already 2024. I have a firework celebration video at the end of the presentation today. So it's a new year in different parts of the world. Thank you again for coming back. I have several news to share with you. I will start with Ethiopia. Let's start with famine or hunger and deaths related with the famine. So the federal government spokesperson, Ethiopia's Ministry of Communication, denied any deaths related to famine or hunger or drought. Any deaths. But the Tigray region transitional government authority raised the issue. It is very alarming, very serious, and they call on Ethiopians and the international community to help feeding the hungry people. So there is a very serious issue, but the government is allergic to hunger or any negative news. They are allergic. The Prosperity Party. They are allergic to the talk of transitional government. They are allergic to opposition protests. They are allergic to any unemployment numbers or starvation or hunger-related deaths. They just want to hear positive things. That's the ideology of the government we have in Ethiopia today. So they are denying, they are lying about this report and other information. So let me read what the Addis Standard editorial statement says, and also a news released by BBC, a BBC report on hunger in northern Ethiopia. Let me read what it says. Northern Ethiopia facing famine, says official. Ethiopia's war-scared Tigray region is on the verge of humanitarian catastrophe, comparable to the famine in 1984-85 that promoted the global fundraising music event Live Aid, a regional leader has said. So if compared to 1984-85, We Are the World, if you remember, I don't know, Michael Jackson and other very famous artists played a major role in, helping Ethiopia. So now Getachew Reda is comparing the current famine to that level. A starkly worded statement said starvation and death were hovering over the northern region. Federal authorities have denied there is a famine. You will hear, I have a short video. It's in Amharic. It's the same, this translation. So the government denied. Until November last year, Tigray and the central government were at war. Hundreds of thousands are thought to have died as a result of the 24-month conflict between the Federal Army, its allies, and the Tigrayan forces. The conflict also disrupted agricultural life, forced hundreds of thousands from their homes, and destroyed vital infrastructure, leaving Tigray very vulnerable. Following that, drought in some areas plus a locust infestation exacerbated the situation, said the president of Tigray's interim administration, Getachew Reda. It has now left 91% of the region's population exposed to the risk of starvation, according to his statement. 91%. So the government, the federal government, is denying this. Mr. Getachew's administration was set up after a peace deal was agreed last year. Local officials had previously said hundreds of people had died of hunger in recent months. A recent UN report described an escalating food security crisis in Tigray, even the United Nations report. November, the US and the United Nations announced they would resume food aid to Ethiopia months after suspending it over allegation of thefts. The interim administration called on Ethiopia's federal government and the international community to intervene to save lives. But Ethiopia's Federal Disaster Risk Management Commission has denied reports of famine in Ethiopia, adding the government is galvanizing effort to provide support those affected by drought. Credit BBC. So the government called upon by the interim administration of Tigray to act in urgent way to save lives, but the federal government denies there is famine or any deaths related with this issue. Addis Standard editorial also wrote this warning about drought-related starvation and deaths in especially in Tigray and the Amara region. It says 132,000 hectares of farmland in Tigray region impacted by severe drought. 85,000 livestock have perished. 85,000 livestock have perished in the Amara region alone. In months of Tigray alone, more than 400 people, including 25 children, have succumbed to starvation. More than 400 people already died. So you will hear the federal government spokesperson denying no single death related to starvation. Neither the response nor the level of concern displayed by the authorities of the federal government seem to match the rapid deterioration into acute food insecurity transpiring on the ground. The response is very weak, according to Addis Standard editorial board. In the quotation again, millions are on the verge of death. Authorities must stop wrangling over the semantics of descriptions and declare the crisis as a natural emergency. So, Addis Standard editorial is warning the federal government to declare this thing as an emergency situation, so that the Tigrayans and others living in Amara region, plus Oromia too. Oromia also not reported that much, ignored for many years, also suffering, impacting by displacement and starvation. So that's a challenge. Let's listen to what this government spokesperson is saying. Then I will continue my reading. Let's listen. It's denying. It's in Amharic, but it's just denying no one is dead because of starvation, but some maybe other issues related to malnutrition, malaria, blah blah.
እስካሁን ባደረገው ግምገማ የአደጋ ስጋት ምክር ቤቱን እንዳረጋገጠው በየትኛውም የሀገሪቱ አካባቢ በምግብ እጥረት በድርቅ ምክንያት በህብረተሰቡ ላይ ጉዳት ደርሶ ወደ ረሃብ ተቀይሮ ሰዎች ህይወታቸውን አጥተዋል የሚል ግምገማ የለውም።
Anywhere in Ethiopia, nobody dead because of starvation. No report, nothing.
በተለያየ መልክ ከድርቁ ጋር ተያይዞ ለምሳሌ የተለያየ ወረርሽኝ እንደዚሁም በተለይ የወባ የተቅማጥ እና እንደዚሁም ከነዚህ ጋር የተገናኙ ተላላፊ በሽታዎች ተከስተዋል።
So it's not starvation, it is malaria, diarrhea or other diseases might kill, not starvation, no hunger, no famine in Ethiopia.
ወደ የአካባቢው በማጓጓዝ ህዝቡ ለከፋ ጉዳት ሳይዳረግ ይሄንኑ ተግባራዊ ማድረግ ችሏል። በጸጥታ ችግር ምክንያት መንግስት ያልደረሰባቸው አካባቢዎች የተፈጠሩ ሁኔታዎች ካልሆኑ በቀር እስካሁን ባለው ነባራዊ ሁኔታ በአማራም በትግራይ ክልልም በድርቅ ምክንያት ወደ
excuses, maybe areas inaccessible due to security concerns. Maybe some people died there. So an excuse.
የምግብ እጥረቱ ወደ ረሃብ እንዳይሸጋገር መንግስት ሁሉንም አቅሞቹን አስተባብሮ በአሁኑ ሰዓት የእርዳታ እህል እያጓጓዘ ይገኛል። ስለዚህ ወደ ረሃብ ተቀይሯል ለማለት ዓለም አቀፍ መስፈርቶች አሉ፣ ሀገራዊ መስፈርቶች አሉ። ይሄ በሙያተኞች ተገምግሞ ወደዚህ ደረጃ ደርሷል ከተባለ መንግስት ለህዝቡ ይፋ ያደርጋል። ምንም በህዝብ ላይ በድርቅ በሰብአዊነት የሚደርስ የትኛውንም ነገር መንግስት እንዲደበቅ ፍላጎት የለውም። ስለዚህ በግልጽ እነዚህ ነገሮች እውነት መሆናቸው ተረጋግጦ ተገምግሞ ለህዝቡ የሚገለጽ ይሆናል። እስካሁን ባለው መረጃ ግን እንዲህ አይነት ሁኔታ አላጋጠመም ነው። ይሄው ሌላ ከሌላ አመሰግናለሁ።
ኦኬ
Everything about energy is changing. New discoveries, new technologies, new requirements for
Israeli Prime Minister.
Okay, I'll come back to that one. So that's a government of Ethiopia spokesperson. These people, they don't care about coming to the media and say whatever that comes to their mind. They don't care. They lie. Lying is common under Prosperity Party and without any shame. Without any shame. This is a new face we have witnessed. Ethiopians are not well known for lying. They just feel ashamed to lie publicly. But under Prosperity Party, whether the military generals, the prime minister, spokesperson, all of them well known for lying to the public. Because there is no accountability. Nobody can hold them accountable. So he say, there is no one dead because of starvation or famine. And he also talk about criteria, national and international criteria to declare if there is a famine. So he's blaming the Tigray government for raising this issue at critical stage. You don't have authority to release such kind of report. The federal governments must do it. And how dare you do that? How dare you cry for your people to get help? So they are blaming the federal government, and they are saying they are doing everything to help with their capacity. The people impacted by this drought. So he say there is national and international criteria before declaring state of emergency, and we don't have this report. Those all 400 people dead in Tigray is a lie, and we don't have this report. So that's the stand of Ethiopian government or prosperity government. Let me continue with other reading. This one is the challenge we are still facing from Fano militia in Oromia. So this group fighting the federal government, also crossing, establishing bases and attacking Oromos. They are giving extra challenge. We have already facing challenge, but they are also part of the problem. Part of the problem. They are crossing and killing and burning houses. Let me read. This is from Addis Standard. Violent militant assault in North Shore's Dara district results in 18 days, 6 injuries. The community of Dara district, situated within the North Shore zone of the Oromia region, has been subjected to unyielding attack spanning 2 days, commencing on 24 December 2023. According to accounts from local residents, the Fano militants are responsible for this surge of violence, which has resulted in the deaths of 18 individuals and injuries to 6 others. A resident of the Dara district requesting anonymity conveyed to Addis Standard that the militants, believed to have infiltrated from the neighboring areas, including Marabe and Wagidi district, as well as Rima town, initiated a series of assaults. According to the residents' testimony, the onslaught began in the afternoon of 24 December and continued unabated until 5 o'clock the following evening. The resident reported that approximately 1 month has elapsed since the militant crossed into the border of Oromia. During this interval, they have established a military encampment within the confines of the village known as Ilugoda Chafe. The individual further disclosed that the 2-day assault resulted in the tragic loss of 11 lives in the village of Godima Sosorka, with an additional 7 individuals succumbing to the violence in the village of Kara Mitikora. An additional government employee who is also a resident of the Dara district provided information to Addis Standard regarding the assaults. The civil servant stated that the attacks, backed by substantial armaments like artillery, occurred in several villages within the district, namely Ilugoda Chafe, Denu Wobenso, Godima Sosorka, and Kara Mitikora. The informant has disclosed that approximately 6 individuals have sustained severe injuries and are presently receiving medical attention at Dara Hospital, located in Gundo Maskal, which serves as the administrative center of the district. According to the source, the injured parties encompass the village leader of Godina Sosorka and the members associated with the governmental security agencies. The source also reported that the casualties of the assault included 2 women and an estimated 50 cattle were confiscated during the occurrence. Additionally, the ongoing security difficulties with the district have hindered educational operations. The source elucidated that the militant factions have established their presence in 10 of the district's 41 villages. As a direct result of these educational facilities throughout the district have ceased operations. All schools in the 41 villages, excluding the district's administration center, Gundo Maskal, have been shut down, he stated. Attempts by Addis Standard to get response from the officials of Dara district didn't yield a result. So that is the challenge, the continued challenge of Fano operation in Oromia, and occupying at least 10 districts and waging a war against Oromo farmers and those who are living in the small towns and displacing them and taking their livestock and destroying their homes. And the federal government is silent, and they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. This is the tragedy we keep witnessing. How Fano crossed into Oromia, still holding 10 districts, and the federal government, the Oromia regional government, still silent. So this is about Houthi militant attacks container ship. Merrick halt Red Sea sailing. There's a challenge in that area. Let me read. Iranian-backed Houthi militant attacked a Mersik.co container vessel with missiles and small boats, promoting the company to pause all sailing through the Red Sea for 48 hours, Maersk said on Sunday. The crew of the Maersk Hangzhou crew was safe, and there was no indication of fire on board the vessel, which continued its journey north to Port Suez, the shipping company said. A spokesman for the Houthis said the group carried out the attack because the ship's crew refused to heed warning calls. He said 10 Houthi naval personnel were dead and missing after their boats were attacked by U.S. forces in the Red Sea. That's a tragedy, really. So U.S. is at war with Houthi rebels. The United States Central Command, CENTCOM, said its helicopters sank 3 of 4 boats after responding to distress call, with the 4th vessel fleeing. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby declined to say what operations are on or off the table when asked on ABC's Good Morning America if Washington would consider preemptive strike. We have made it, in quotation, we have made it clear publicly to the Houthis. We have made it clear privately to our allies and partners in the region that we take these threats seriously, credit Reuters. So Houthis are acting because of Israeli bombardment in Gaza. So if that one stops, there's no issue on the sailing or Suez Canal, no issue. So the United States, instead of calling for ceasefire, now itself engaging with Houthis and sinking the boats and causing the deaths of 10 Houthis. So the war is on. So we don't know how far this war can expand. So they say Iranian-backed Houthis. That means Iran may be on their target. This one is Israel seeks full control of Gaza-Egypt border, Netanyahu said. Israel must take full control of the Gaza Strip border corridor with Egypt to ensure a demilitarization of the area, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Saturday as Israeli military pushed deeper into central and southern Gaza. Speaking at a press conference, Netanyahu said, in the quotation, the Philadelphia corridor, or to put it in more correctly, the southern closing point of Gaza must be in our hands. It must be shut. It is clear that any other arrangement would not ensure the demilitarization that we seek. End of quotation. That's Benjamin Netanyahu's requirement. He didn't elaborate if accomplished, such a move would mark a de facto reversal of Israel's 2005 withdrawal from Gaza, placing the enclave under exclusive Israeli control after years being run by the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Netanyahu's comments about the buffer zone came as Israeli military forces pressed ahead with an offensive that the Prime Minister's reiterated will last for months, for many more months. So the suffering of Palestinians will continue, and that is a challenge. Fighting was focused in Al-Bureji, Nusriyat, Maghazi, Khan Yunis, according to residents, and was backed by intensive airstrikes that filled hospitals with wounded Palestinians. Bad. The bombardment has killed 165 people and wounded 250 others in Gaza over the past 24 hours, Palestinian health authorities said. This was reported yesterday. So more already dead today by this bombardment. More number keep coming. At Nasir Hospital in Khan Yunis, the biggest medical facility in the south of the crowded territory, a Red Crescent video showed paramedics rushing a tiny, dust-covered baby into a ward as one shouted, "There is breathing, there is breathing." Almost all Gaza's 2.3 million residents have been forced from their homes by Israel's 12-week assault, triggered after Hamas and allied groups killed 1,200 people and captured 240 hostages in a rampage in southern Israel on October 7. The offensive has killed at least 21,672 Palestinians, according to health authorities in Gaza, with more than 56,000 injured and thousands more feared dead under the rubble. That is a tragedy our President Biden is still supporting. Israel says 172 of its military personnel have been killed in the Gaza fighting. On Saturday, the armed wing of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine said an Israeli soldier being held captive in Gaza by the group had been killed in an Israeli airstrike that also wounded some of his captors. A spokesperson for the group told Al Arabiya television the airstrike followed a failed attempt by Israeli commandos to free the soldier. Credit Reuters. So it's a tragedy. It's a continuation of death and the destruction due to Israeli indiscriminate continued bombardment of Gaza. So that's why Israeli emboldened by its action and continue the massacre. Why? The following will tell you the following report. The Biden administration once again bypassed Congress on emergency weapons sale to Israel. For the second time this month, the Biden administration bypassing Congress to approve an emergency weapons sale to Israel as Israel continues to prosecute its war against Hamas in Gaza and increasing international criticism. The State Department said Friday that Secretary of State Antony Blinken had told Congress that he had made a second emergency determination covering a $147.5 million sale for equipment, including fuses, charges, and primers that is needed to make the 155 millimeter shells that Israel has already purchased function. In quotation, given the urgency of Israel's defensive needs, the Secretary notified Congress that he had exercised his delegated authority to determine an emergency existed necessitating the immediate approval of the transfer. End of quotation, the department said. The United States is committed to security of Israel, and it is vital to use national interest to ensure Israel is able to defend itself against the threats it faces, it said. The emergency determination means the purchase will bypass the congressional review requirement for foreign military sales. Such determinations are rare, but not unprecedented when administrations see an urgent need for weapons to be delivered without waiting for lawmakers' approval. That means they don't want scrutiny, any charge from Congress. Why you are sending this? Why you are supporting genocide against Palestinians? This is not a war against Hamas. This is the entire Palestinians. Blinken made a similar decision on December 9 to approve the sale to Israel of nearly 14,000 rounds of tank ammunition worth more than $106 million. That is, by the way, Secretary Blinken is a Jew. He's a Jew. That's why we see this unequivocal or unlimited support of Israel operation against Palestinians. Whether you come to U.S. representatives in UN vetoing repeatedly against the ceasefire, 22,000 people, close to 22,000 people are dead, more than 56,000 people. I have seen different times war between Hamas and Israel, but I never seen such open green light for Israeli to continue. It is a genocidal operation against Palestinians. Never seen. It's completely, completely destroying all the residential buildings, attacking journalists so that there will be no record of Israeli crimes. They target journalists purposely. So many already killed. They target humanitarian workers. They are visible. They have UN mark journalists, but they purposely target because they don't want to be accounted for. And South Africa already took Israel to ICC. This is about Iran. Let me see. Okay, this is the last for today's reading. This is about Iran nuclear program. Joint statement on the latest Iranian nuclear steps reported by the IAEA, U.S. State Department. This is media note. So the text of the following statement was released by the government of the United States of America, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. The December 26, 2023 report by the IAEA highlights that Iran has increased its rate of production of uranium enriched up to 60% at Natanz and Fordow to levels observed between January and June 2023. These findings represent a backwards step by Iran and will result in Iran tripling its monthly production rate of uranium enriched up to 60%. We condemn this action, which adds to the unabated escalation of Iran's nuclear program. The production of high enriched uranium by Iran has no credible civilian justification, and the reported production at the Fordow fuel enrichment plant and the pilot fuel enrichment plant further carries significant proliferation-related risks. We also take note of Iran's decision to revert to the same cascade configuration as the one discovered by the IAEA in Fordow earlier this year. Iran's delay in declaring this change in January 2023 cast serious doubt on Iran's willingness to cooperate with the IAEA in full transparency. This decision demonstrates Iran's lack of goodwill toward the de-escalation and represents reckless behavior in a tense regional context. We urge Iran to immediately reverse these steps and de-escalate its nuclear program. Iran must fully cooperate with the IAEA to enable it to provide assurances that its nuclear program is exclusively peaceful and to redesignate the inspectors suspended in September 2023. We remain committed to a diplomatic solution and reaffirm our determination that Iran must never develop a nuclear weapon. So that is a stand of United States, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. So why Iran is the target? Why not Israel? Israel also has a nuclear, it's not declared publicly, but they have a nuclear program. And nobody is allowed to talk about why this agency, the IAEA, is not talking about Israel. Why only Iran? Why? That is, if nuclear power is forbidden for Iran, it should be forbidden for all countries so we can be safe. But Israel is allowed, America is allowed, France has, Germany has. Okay, then it's common. It's a common sense for Iran to attempt to get a nuclear power. Yeah. So if it's forbidden, it should be forbidden anywhere in this world, anywhere. So IAEA is, biased, and it should correct its standing. And nuclear should be banned all over the world if it's banned in Iran. So that's all I have for today's reading. let's share some videos I selected for you. Thank you again. Happy New Year's in advance. I have also a firework for you at the end. As I said, some countries already celebrated, but the United States is not yet. And South Africa courageously took the case to ICC, International Criminal Court, took Israel to International Criminal Court, even though the enforcement is not there, but politically, it's a bold move by South Africa, really bold move. The others are silent. They are watching the tragedy every day in Gaza, the killing of children, babies, women, the destruction of the whole city. They are watching. Biden is watching, enjoying from the White House. UK is enjoying. France, Germany are enjoying. All of them. So thank you, South Africa, for your courageous move. Let's listen to this. Benjamin Netanyahu rejected it. As let's listen to it anyway. Thank you again.
Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu has criticized South Africa's submission to the United Nations top court, accusing his country of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. South Africa launched a case at the International Court of Justice Friday, asking the court to order Israel to halt its attacks, the first such challenge made at the court. A request to comment on South Africa's false accusation
criminal.
Israel is committing genocide. No, South
Who is
Africa,
allowed
it's not us who
to
came to
continue
cause genocide. It's
bombard
Hamas,
genocidal
and
war,
kill
thanks
us all
to
if it's cool.
our
In
President
contrast,
Biden.
the IDF acts in the most moral way. It does everything possible to avoid harming civilians, and Hamas does everything possible to harm them, using them as a human shield. South Africa has been a fierce critic of Israel's military campaign in Gaza. President Cyril Ramaphosa has compared Israel's policy regarding Palestinians with South Africa's past apartheid regime of racial segregation. Where were you when millions were murdered and displaced from their homes in Syria, Yemen, and other places? Because everything you do now is just nonsense, lies, and ignorance. We will continue our defensive war, which there is nothing more justified and moral than it is. More than 21,600 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's unprecedented air and ground offensive. In South Africa, pro-Palestinian protests have taken place in Johannesburg and Cape Town, denouncing Israel's operation.
2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence, and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful new year.
Thank you, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, for your wish. I hope it will be much better than 2023. Okay, maybe one more.
Searching for a reliable used sedan? Shop the area's best selection of affordable vehicles at unbeatable prices. Want a vehicle with low mileage?
There we go. That's New Zealand, I think. So New Zealand and Sydney, Australia. Already celebrating 2024. This is Hong Kong. Happy. Okay, so Happy New Year again for you. Enjoy it. I hope 2024 will be the new year. We mostly talk about positive news instead of war, flood, earthquake, all this negativity and famine. I wish prosperity, happiness, end of civil conflict, and excellent engagement, especially for the people of Ethiopia who have been suffering more than enough under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I hope this year will close all this suffering. Too much negativity under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. As I said before, high unemployment numbers, high inflation, conflict everywhere, and famine, drought, and also continued lies. These people, they don't care about lying. They don't feel about, they just openly lie. We are not well known for this kind of character. This is a new character. When you hear the Branu Jula, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, or spokesperson, these are adapted lying to Ethiopians and to the global community. I hope this will be ended. Will be ended in 2024. We want to see credible report, truths. Who are starving, who are dying, what is happening in that country. I hope we want to see change of leadership. Who can be accountable for the public, accountable for Ethiopians, and accountable to the international community, who can engage, in a positive engagement, so it can open door for our students to go abroad, get scholarship for our merchants to trade with global community. Farmers produce their farm products, sell globally and internally freely. No conflict, no hate, so no tension. So I hope this for Ethiopia and for the rest of the world. Good relationship, respect, end of genocide, end of conflict, end of war, anywhere, in Gaza, Ukraine, Russia conflict, and also let's wish for common ground for UN Security Council. If there is conflict right there, you will not get peace anywhere. US, Russia, France, Germany, UK, they should come together and discuss their issue seriously for the sake of global security and peace. They have to, If not, the global problem, the global challenge will remain in 2024. We cannot have any solution as long as there is division in Security Council members. So they have to come. They have to figure out through General Assembly or through whatever. If not, we just keep talking without no ending credible result. That's all I'm going to say for today. And enjoy the holiday peacefully. Be careful. Don't do gunshots. Just do firework. Be safe, everyone. So long. Happy New Year.